Okay, so welcome to Chapter 10, where we are going to continue talking about data and how it is distributed. 10.1 is going to introduce a stem and leaf plot. Alright, so as you can see from our definition here, stem and leaf plots use the digits of the data values to organize a data set. So just like we did in Chapter 9, where we were gathering data, you are going to be gathering data and organizing it in slightly different ways. So after you've gathered your data, you are going to want to organize it from low to high, just like you did when we were solving for median. So if we look at this data that is collected here, we can see that if this is cell phone minutes, we can see it on July 9th. They talked for 55 minutes on July 10th for 3 minutes, and so on and so forth through July 20th. You're going to take each of those minutes and you are going to organize it from low to high, just like we did last unit. And you can see that each one of these cell phone minutes is represented in that organized chart. So a stem and leaf plot breaks up the data into stems and leaves. So the stems are always going to be organized in numerical order from like 0 to 5 or 0 to 9. Just for the sake of showing you how one of these are put together, we'll go ahead and put a 0 and a 1, even though you're not necessarily going to see all of these represented in the data. I want you to understand that each of these single digits over here represent like the tens placed in some of these numbers. So if I'm looking at this data here, I do not have any number that starts with 0, of course, because that would represent that it's a single digit number. If I have a single digit piece of data, such as 2, 3, 5, and 6, they are going to be put over to the right-hand side in this leaf column across from the 0. Because this 1 really represents the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and so on. So if you have a single digit number, the only place to put it would be across from the 0. So this 2 gets represented over here in this leaf as a 2, and then I'm going to separate it from the other data with a comma. And then the next one is a 3. The next single digit is a 5. I think you're probably starting to see why it's helpful to have organized this first. Okay, and now we move into the double digit data. You've got a 10 here. Since this is the 1 of this 10, I just put a 0 here. So now it represents the data 10. And then a comma. I've got another 1 here. That's 14. Here's the 1. I put the 4 there. 18, here's the 1. 18 goes there, or the 8 goes there. And I don't have any other numbers that start with 1 in the tens place. So moving on, I've got a couple of 20s. So here's 20, and I've got 23. And I've got another 23. I've got 30, so there's 30, so I put the 0 there. And I have a 36. I don't have any data in the 40s, so I can just leave that blank. And then I have 50s, and I've got 55, so here's 55. I don't have anything in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, so I can just leave those blank. The key here, just like a map would have a key, is you could say it's something that explains what the stem and leaves represent. So we could say something like here, the key 5 equals 55. Or you could say 2, 3 equals 23. So we understand that these numbers represent the numbers in the tens column, and these numbers represent the digits in the ones column. So if we take a look at one more example, here we've got an example that I took from your book. These are the ages of first ladies when they entered the White House. You can see there's a lot of data on here. Very easy as you are organizing it to not get them in order. And you can see I just took them from here. I have not put them in order yet. So we're going to take a minute to go ahead and do that because, like I said, it's helpful when you do. Obviously, you don't. It's not mandatory. You don't need to, but it is very helpful if you have them in order first. So we'll take just a quick minute to go ahead and do that. 21, 31, 40. And just like we talked about last unit, you want to make sure when you have especially this much data that you have written down each of them. So there were 22 numbers here, there were 22 numbers here, so I should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Okay, so now I'm ready to organize my data into my stem and leaf plot. So I don't have any single digit numbers, so I don't need to have a 0 in my stem and leaf plot. I don't have any numbers that start with 1 between 10 and 19, so I don't need a 1. My youngest one was 21, so I do need to have the 2 there for my 20s. I will have a 3 for my 30s. I've got lots in the 40s, quite a few in the 50s, and then a few in the 60s. And I don't need any for 70, 80, and 90 because I don't have any data there. So now I can just go through and I've got a 21, so there's 21, 31, 40, 44, 45, 45, 48, 48, 49, 49. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, moving on to 50s, I've got 50, 52, 54, 54, 56, 56, 56, 56. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, and then 59 down here. Okay, and then I've got 3 in the 60s, 60, 60, and 63. So stem and leaf plots are just kind of a fun way to represent your data kind of in a different way. And if you have any questions, you can always reference your Big Ideas Lesson 10.1.